Hi, Professor Rivera and classmates. It's been an interesting, fun semester for me. Super surprised to know that I'm able to relate to a lot of you guys' childhood and your upbringings and the way you guys were raised. Super fun to read a lot of your responses. I can relate to a lot of it, so that's cool. A little bit about myself. I like to think of myself as an optimistic person who enjoys like all of life. I enjoy being out in the sun, barbecuing with friends and family. That's one of my best hobbies. I happen to be a quadriplegic. I broke my neck in 2007 riding motorcycle, and I value honesty and courageousness. I also value patience and creativity. I try my best to be all of these things. I also value kindness. My mom has shown that throughout her life. I learned this from a very young age, and it will continue to be one of the traits that I will use to remind myself that is what is needed to become a good person in the future or to continue being a good person. Um, my family origin. So I grew up in a single parent working household, and I have five siblings, two older brothers and three younger sisters. We were raised by our grandparents, or cared for by our grandparents. And my mom used sports and other after school activities to keep us busy and ensure that we were able to explore our talents, and also to kind of instill like a fatherly figure because you know rules come with sports and stuff. So that's a good way to like socialize us, I guess, in my mom's eyes. Organized football was a community for my entire family, so we all participated in that, and that team was our actually it was our entire, like, we were family. My brothers and sisters were my teammates because we were close in age, and my sisters were part of the cheering squad. My mom never missed one of our games, and although we were poor, my mom like did her best to encourage us to participate in as much activities, even though it cost some money. She did her best, and my grandparents helped a lot as well. My uncles were the father figures in my life, and they taught me the importance of respect. A main concept that I found interesting would probably be the orb web model on page 24. It's a graphical model used to represent interpretive reproduction. So the orb web model is important to sociologists because it creates a visualization that children's peer cultures aren't completely pre-existing structures. They are interwoven and changed by how a behavior or activity is interpreted and then reproduced by that child. In other words, the concept of the orb web is an excellent way to illustrate or understand the intertwined complexities of a child's peer and adult culture. From this model, sociologists can then pinpoint productive and reproductive characteristics or habits which commonly occur in distinct peer cultures. So they're able to look at this web, or even you, or even us as students, we're able to look at this web and be like, oh, these were the influences on me. These are the things I was able to collect from and, carry on in life. And so that's what was super interesting. So the interweaving, so the web displays how a child will experience four distinct peer cultures: preschool, pre-adolescence, adolescence, and then adulthood. And these experiences are interwoven and connected by the institutions they participated in. So that's one of the biggest things, is the institutions also bring out and exemplify the past experiences of a child. So this reminds sociologists that life experiences are not left behind with maturity or personal development. So we continue to carry all these experiences with ourselves on into our adulthood, and we're able to reflect onto it. So that's what I really found impactful about that theory or concept. I would say the second concept that was interesting or really important to me is recognizing children's activities and contributions to society. So there's a doctrine, I guess a psychological doctrine of individualistic childhood, and sociologists don't believe in that. So they believe that, so this theory calls for society to break away from the individualistic doctrine of childhood, to be more cognizant to the contributions of children during childhood. It rightly assumes that children are participating social agents and co-contributors to the maintenance of society by cooperating with adults. So basically, we can see these contributions when a child enforces the norms and values within the society they live in. A good example would be how children within a modern society, sorry, cooperate with schoolwork or contribute with work in and outside of the home. Uh, because children spend a long time in school, in institutions like school, there are contributions to the future of education should be so their contributions to the future should be recognized. I feel like that's very important that children should be able to recognize at that age, like, hey, the contributions I'm making to education, I feel like, this is going to follow me everywhere I go. um, they play a big part in cultivating knowledge, since teachers are able to learn from their behaviors as well. So children are cultivating the knowledge for the next generation. By understanding there is a structural construct to childhood, we start to realize that children are just as integrated into society as adults are. So the important influences I feel that would help children of the future is understanding that the family of origin they come from plays a big factor into how they would experience the future. So I think family is the biggest influence on children, especially mothers, where we learned in chapter 10 that the nurture of a mother is extremely important from the first minute of a child's life. When thinking of a family, it is easy to think of love, shelter, and protection, but we don't immediately think of culture. That's the sad thing about families. We don't think of culture. Parents don't really plan culture. You're kind of born into culture, so we're all born into culture. So the book Sociology of Childhood is not written to ignore the fundamental bases of a healthy family. Those love, shelter, patience, food. Those It's not written to ignore that. It's written to emphasize the importance of family origin and the culture a child is born into. These are two very important concepts that aren't recognized enough. I think so. I think a resource. It's not a resource, but I think the future, the children of the future would benefit from recognition. So it's not a resource, but I believe children will become much more successful adults if they were able to recognize early on the contributions they can make to their communities. This can be done early on by discovering talents and holding positive humane contributions as extremely valuable. Yeah, thanks. Hope that made sense. Have a nice day. Take care.